All right, everybody, it's going to be a recap now for this Monday. Finally made it through the holidays. Hope everybody had an enjoyable time this holiday season. And we are back. We are back to trading. So, actually had a pretty good day. We'll take a look at what we did in the stocks. Let's start off with some of these indices. So, I did buy the mini Russell, but I also bought the mini NASDAQ, and I am still in these trades. You can see I entered fairly early, right around shortly after 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and it has not really done much. I still have my targets up here. I am still looking at, let's see if we can show these targets. So I'm still looking at 1814 and 1809 on the mini Russell. So I'm going to carry that over. Hopefully we'll get out tomorrow, which I suspect that we will, one way or the other. And I'll go ahead and either take a profit or a loss. Now, if it does start to come down, it'll probably set me up for some shorts. We'll go ahead and take a short. But right now, we are still poised to go higher. And so that's what I'm looking to do. And the mini NASDAQ, same scenario. We're still long in the mini NASDAQ. So we'll hopefully get out of that either later tonight and or hopefully first thing in the morning. So we'll see how that goes. All right, what else do we have here? We had a few more things. We did a little bit of crude oil, and we'll show you that that crude oil trade, which was nice. We're bringing in the crude oil back, and also we're going to be bringing back in natural gas. It had nothing on the metals. Possibly we'll see a little bit of activity in the gold this week, but right now I have not touched gold. I'm waiting on gold. So if things change tomorrow and I see more volatility come into it, then I'll jump back into gold. But right now, we're going to stay with the indices. We're going to stay with the stocks. And we'll also look at the energies, all right? So once again, if you've been following me or haven't ever followed me before, I've been trading now for well over 40 years. I pretty much simplified my process. I have 4 patterns, just several patterns that I really look at that took me a long time to find them, but they're very reliable patterns. They're not anything that is publicly available. So we're not looking at your classical chart patterns like the head and shoulders or the wedges and the pennants and all that. I'm not looking at support and resistance, okay? And I'm not looking at these candlestick patterns, right? So my patterns are unique. They are price patterns in combination with volume. And I have several that I use, and it's a pretty simple process. So the patterns set me up for entries. And then we use something called Einstein, which I've been using for a long, long time, which also provides me with my profit targets. Now, every single one of the patterns, as well as Einstein, has its own set probability. Those probabilities have not changed over the last 40 years. And then based on that, if you know the probabilities, then you can work with the size of your positions, okay? So when it comes to trading, you don't always want to be trading with ones and twosies. If you're seeing something that's setting up and it looks like you have, well, if you have multiple things setting up and they all have very high probabilities, then that would be an opportunity to put a little bit of size on it because you want to take advantage of those opportunities when they're there. And then, of course, when they're not, then you back off. And so I use the probabilities of my patterns with Einstein to decide what my size is going to be. All right, so it's a very simple process. It's not complicated. There's not really a whole lot to teach. All I can do is show you the results. You can track me live in the morning, track me live during. I do have a Discord group, and track me live there. But this is not an educational video. This is just want to show you guys that there are other ways of trading besides what you've been seeing publicly available out there. All right. Yes, you have to spend some time. You have to put some time in front of it, but you as well can find patterns that you that are very effective. And the only thing I would say is that if you do find a particular pattern, make sure it works in everything. If a pattern is good and valid, whether you're trading like I do, an indice like a mini Russell, or you keep trading the SPYs, but you should also see it work in other markets like an energies or the metals or a stock, whatever the case might be. If the pattern is good, then it should work across the board. So that's the only thing I would say. I wouldn't trade a pattern that only works in, say, the E-mini S&P, but it doesn't work in anything else, because the odds are, through my experience, is that eventually those patterns dissolve, okay, and they're not reliable. So find something that is reliable across the board. That'll also give you a lot more confidence to stick with the method that you're trading, okay? So anyway, so nice little trade on the mini Russell. And we'll look at those results here on the crude and also the mini NASDAQ. Let's take a look and see what we did on our stocks today. All right, so CAPT, if you were in the first part of the morning show on YouTube, one of the first things that you saw me take was CAPT. And CAPT had a nice little, was a nice little mover. I did get into it early, and I did hold on to this for quite a while. Okay, so, and I did carry it through the opening. Now, if you've been watching me for a while, you know I like to get in before the opening bell, because a lot of times the stocks that I trade tend to have that huge movement. Get my pattern setting up, get my level setting up, and then I like to go into the opening and see if I can hit those levels. Well, we did hit level number 1. We did hit level number 2, but by the time that I got out, it had pulled back pretty drastically, and I still ended up making a nice little profit on CAPT. And I did revisit it later on in the day, and I'll show you this. And it came in, I think it was closer to 3 o'clock. Yeah, 3 o'clock. So 3 o'clock, I had another, what we call an HF1 buy. It's one of my patterns. It's called HF1. Makes it easier to identify. So we had a nice little HF1 buy, and it did go through 2 targets fairly quickly, and that's when I went ahead and I took my my profit on CAPT. So two little nice trades. Now, a lot of times these stocks, you'll see what'll happen is they'll be hot in the morning, they cool off, and then that last hour or hour and a half, you'll see the thing starting to heat up again. And that's why I decided to jump back into it. I normally don't like to do that unless I see some strong indication to do that. In this case, nice little HF1 buy. Already we're on the incline. Volume, as you can see here, was picking up. Nice little HF1 setup. Bought it, scalped it, and I was out of it. So nice little trade on CAPT. And then I had one other really nice trade, which was the biggest trade of the day. We'll show you that. All right, here's another one that was on our morning watch list this morning that came out prior to the opening bell. DRCT. Now, DRCT had some nice moves last week as well, but we had this beautiful, nice HF1 buy coming in, and this came in after the opening, but still was a really nice trade. I had 4 different levels. I had 3 levels here. Every single one of these are targets that I'm looking for, and everyone has its probability, as well as this upper one over here. I did not get out up here. I did get out down here, but let me show you what I ended up doing here. And so as we came up and we hit level 1, 2, and 3, I saw that we were still had a lot of buy orders coming in on this market. So what I did is I went ahead and added after it went through level 3, and after it hit this upper level and pulled back, that's actually when I ended up getting out. I did not get out above this level here. I did get out below the level, but I still had a beautiful trade on DRCT. So let's take a look at the overall results for today. All right, so also traded a little bit of currencies. Now, when I'm trading the currencies, Aussie US and the US yen, I also trade the Euro US. If you've been watching me for a while, I use something we call crystal ball. I go by I say it's CB. People understand what CB means. It just means crystal ball. Very quick in and out. It's a scalping approach to trading these currencies. I'm not necessarily looking for targets, though I could if I wanted to. If I wanted to hold the trades a little bit longer, but I have found it a lot more effective to use the crystal ball method when I'm trading the currencies. And so we did a little bit on the Aus US, not a whole lot there, but I did catch my favorite on the yen, which is my favorite currency pair, the US and the yen. So, and these, by the way, were all shorting opportunities. Okay, so I was only short. Don't think I was buying at all on this. Crude trade, of course, was a nice little buy in the crude. That came in, if I'm not mistaken, as an HF1. So we got in and out of the crude. So we made a little bit of money on the crude. And then, of course, remember, I'm carrying over the mini NASDAQ. And I'm also carrying over the mini Russell. Do have some targets on those. So we'll see how those do in the morning on my stocks. Obviously, DRCT, nice big trade. Adding on really helped quite a bit. BRDX, I know a lot of people were trading BDRX. I think a lot of people did very well on that. They'll pull a little bit out of that. I think I traded it a little bit too late, but still was able to get a little bit of it. Yang, one of my favorites, very slow mover. I was up a little bit more than this, but it just wasn't moving. I did want to hold it. It's probably going to be a continuation of that move tomorrow. Take a look at it. Maybe I'll jump back in Yang. And of course, CAPT, very first trade of the day. Just scalped a little bit out of that. Even though I came back, that very first trade just wasn't enough. I think it made like $12 or something. So I decided after I saw that HF1 coming in later in the day, I jumped back into it. Once again, that's one of those stocks that was hot in the morning, slows down, then it heats up again in the afternoon. So that happens to quite a bit of the stock. So if you have a stock that's really hot in the morning, I think it's important to go back and revisit it and look at it and see, maybe get a little bit more out of it like I did today during the last hour and a half of trading. And anyway, I think it's a nice way to maybe add a little bit more to one of your stock trades. And sometimes what happens is you get a little chopped up in the morning, but you can catch a little bit in the afternoon to either break even or minimize some of those losses. So anyway, that's it. We'll be back again first thing tomorrow morning. Please join us. There is no, it is free, the first 30 minutes. So I start at 9 a.m. Eastern time every morning. And you'll be able to see what I am looking at. If I'm in any stocks or any indices, commodities, whatever, I'll let you know exactly where I'm getting in. I'll let you know when I'm going to get out. And you can follow the way that I trade, which is different, but it works for me. So, and the idea is just to demonstrate that, folks, there are other ways of trading than what you've been told by the general public or what you've been reading in books. It's most of that stuff is just rehash, and a lot of it just doesn't work. You don't have to make trading complicated. Stop making it complicated. Look for patterns. And of all the things that I've seen work for traders, patterns seem to be the most reliable. But there's all kinds of different patterns. It's not just a price bar pattern. It could be a combination of price action with volume. Okay, it could be a combination of two different stocks that maybe have a high or negative correlation. So there's different patterns to be looking at. So if you spend enough time in front of the charts, then you're going to start noticing patterns. Look for patterns. I personally would stay away from the indicators. You don't need to use indicators. Patterns are a lot easier to trade because they do give you very specific entries, okay? And that's very important, okay? There's no subjectivity when it comes to a pattern. It is a buy or a sell. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to take the buy or the sell. There are other factors you want to look at. You don't want to blindly go into any kind of trade. But in most cases, you can, if you get a setup, take that trade, because in most cases, if your patterns are strong enough, you're going to see the other markets that it's correlated with or negatively correlated with are setting up as well. They're also setting up patterns at the same time. So that is what I suggest people start taking a look at. If you want to get into trading, spend some time in front of the charts. And I think you're going to have a lot more success than trying to use all these crazy patterns and what everybody else is doing with the support and resistance and everything else. That's going to take a long time to learn. And once again, support and resistance is very subjective. Okay, it may be obvious after the fact, but when you're actually trying to trade support and resistance live, it's a very difficult thing to do. So I prefer something very simple. It gives me my buy, I buy it. It gives me my short, I short it. And sometimes it happens around support and resistance, and sometimes it doesn't. I don't even look at it. I just go with the pattern and I look at the other relationships. And if I like the pattern and other relationships show that I can get into the trade, that's what I do. All right. So please follow me. You'll see a lot more of that as we start moving forward. So please join me in the morning. Track my trades for a while. If you have questions, let me know. Go to my website, innovativetradingstrategies.com. Check out my YouTube channel as well. If you like these videos, please give me a thumbs up. And also, please subscribe. So when I do these recaps, you'll be notified as soon as I get them out. Don't always get them out at the same time every day, but I do my best to get to it. All right. I am a full-time trader, and I do get quite busy during the day. So if it doesn't come out right away, I will do my best to get these recaps out so everybody can kind of get an idea of how I trade the markets. All right, everybody have a good day. Hopefully we'll see you first thing tomorrow. Take care.